Before we get into more up-to-date coverage on this 20th anniversary of E3, let's go back in time and take a look at all the highlights of E3. The good, the bad, and the awesome. Gaming Wars is back.
Ready, you win.
Afternoon. City daylight time will be
Level 1.
At E3, companies are trying to build hype for their products. Sometimes executives do a great job, sometimes they hire spokespeople who do a terrible job, and sometimes they get up on stage and just go, wha-bam, wha-bam! These are the top 15 most memorable E3 moments. The PS2 is definitively the most dominant console in gaming history, but Sony let that success get to its head. In 2006, the company lost touch with reality, coming out with this crazy price.
$499 US and the 60 gigabyte for $599 US.
Sony tried to justify this price by promoting a new cell processor capable of handling massive amounts of data for cutting-edge digital entertainment.
Powered by Cell. It's a processor with power rivaling that of supercomputers.
The stages of the game will also be based on famous battles which actually took place in ancient Japan.
But the reality was this new platform was a weak point that developers attacked, inflicting massive amounts of damage to the PS3.
So here's this giant enemy crab attack its weak point for massive damage.
It was just too difficult for developers to learn and program for, and in reality it was just a giant crab. But Sony redeemed itself in 2010 when a surprise guest showed up on stage. A famous and highly vocal PC developer was publicly frustrated with developing for consoles, especially the PS3. Then this happened.
Stand by for an important announcement.
Now, I've been pretty outspoken in my comments, so I'd really like to thank everyone at Sony for not repeatedly punching me in the face. We'll be bringing Portal 2 to the PlayStation 3.
This brought Valve and, more importantly, Steam's cloud platform to the PS3. But Sony isn't the only company with great surprises. Nintendo and Miyamoto witnessed what happens when you give the fans exactly what they want.
I'd like you to step inside one more world for Nintendo GameCube.
Prior to this announcement, there was a debate over the cel-shaded aesthetic of Wind Waker, and this game harkened a call back to realism. This was arguably Nintendo's strongest E3 performance. And when it comes to console launches, you really don't want a surprise. A company tries to deliver exactly what they promised. And in 2006, Nintendo did just that.
First, we want to thank everyone who wrote good things about it the day you heard it. Both of you.
The Wii was actually revealed in 2005, but in 2006 the launch was absolutely perfect. They delivered the console, they revealed the new motion controller, and had playable demos ready for E3. Nintendo was so confident that they even invited random people on stage to try out the games. But other demos sometimes go, wha-bam! Wait, what? The Kinect was announced in 2009 and launched in 2010 to become the fastest-selling consumer electronics device. The success is really a tribute to a well-executed marketing campaign. And this is surprising because this success was actually a great recovery from this horrible demo.
You ever wonder what the bottom of an Avatar shoe looks like? Wha-bam! There it is.
Whoever really wondered what the bottom of an Avatar's shoe looks like, and even worse, it didn't even work. Even the Avatar looked disappointed. And sometimes console companies are way offbeat. Just not my tempo.
It's all good, no worries. Here we go.
If this happened today, I'd love to see J.K. Simmons on stage. But the most memorable presentations come from people who are both funny and self-aware at the same time.
Hi.
Tak Fuji was the lead developer for Konami and went on stage to deliver an epically self-aware launch.
Yes. 1 million troops. 1 million troops. Wow. Extreme. Extreme. X, 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 and Y, 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 and X, X, and Y, Y, Y again. You'll be sucked. Now.
After this, he embraced his internet fame and actually has fun with his popularity.
Rock and roll.
Sometimes publishers hire the wrong personality to represent their brand. Like who at Ubisoft hired this guy?
Hey, want to come over and play my Wii? We should connect. And thanks to the Sony Move, here, hold my Joy Wand. Yes, I'm not afraid of a few dick jokes, thank you. To send pictures to each other. Like this. Everyone do it with me. Diddle, 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 diddle. I said everyone go diddle.
This is what happens when you drink too much caffeine. But the worst presenter has to be this, quote, comedian.
The only place that makes the guys at Comic-Con look like Ocean's 13. Video games, they've been, where are my jokes? So, dude, tell us, what's up? I see some virgins in the audience. Ask me how I'm feeling. I'll be you guys. How you feeling? What? So I was wondering if I could just do the whole interview as Ozzy Osbourne.
Absolutely.
All right.
Aren't you doing that already?
No. You guys are Americans. You're supposed to be with me. Okay? We're not.
I want to bring up now a real man.
Oh.
Not that you aren't.
How much am I getting paid?
This guy was so out of touch, and he broke rule number 1. Never put down your audience. But sometimes the best presenters happen to be the executives themselves. How about this introduction?
My name is Reggie. I'm about kicking ass. I'm about taking names. And we're about making games.
What a way to publicly introduce himself and tell the world what he's all about. And Reggie became the source of his own internet meme. You guys ever hear the term, "my body is ready"?
Do what we call a body check on somebody. I think we'll do it with Reggie.
My body is ready.
Well, that's where that came from. And other executives should practice a bit more before demoing on stage.
Never been afraid of making a fool of myself. Here we go. This is harmonics. And this is Rock Band. Here I go on stage. This is
So you do know the difference.
This was karaoke night gone completely wrong. In 1995, at the first E3, Sega really had one of the worst presentations for a console launch. Prior to this, the industry was led by both Nintendo and Sega during the 16-bit era, and they were about to transition to 32-bit machines. But in order to build out this new platform, companies usually have to seed the hardware to developers so that they can get their games ready for launch, which is a huge opportunity for games. So the president of Sega had told developers everything would be ready by the fall, but then he pulled a surprise at E3 announcing that the console would be ready for sale the very next day. Not only was the console expensive, but all the third-party developers missed out on all the sales as Sega got to sell its own games during its own launch. Now, in the industry, Sony has had the best moments at E3, and it was at the first E3 that really set the tone for Sony's dominance. After losing a deal with Nintendo, Sony decided to make its own console and challenge the incumbents head-on. So after Sega announced its price for the Saturn and its launch the very next day, the Sony president went up on stage and dropped the mic. This launch taught the whole industry a lesson. When launching a new platform, never anger your third-party developers. And the number one moment at E3, in my opinion, happened in 2013. Sony continued its tradition of capitalizing on other companies' mistakes. Microsoft designed a platform that benefited large publishers more than it benefited gamers and small developers, with features like Always On, strict DRM, and no used games. Then Sony announced this.
PlayStation 4 won't impose any new restrictions on the use of PS4 gamers. They can trade in the game at retail, sell it to another person, lend it to a friend, or keep it forever. PlayStation 4 disc-based games don't need to be connected online to play.
$399.
Sony forced Microsoft to go back on all its plans. So there we have it, the top 15 moments of E3 conferences, and I'm really excited about this year's events and announcements because there's so many factors at play. So this week's going to be all about gaming. I hope to watch all the conferences and announcements going on and try to condense it all into videos that give you all the highlights. And if you have any questions, comments, feedback, please let me know because this week's going to be devoted entirely to gaming and all the announcements coming out. So thank you as always for staying subscribed to the channel as we continue to see how technology and digital entertainment and gaming change the world.
Ready, you win.
After soon. City daylight time will be
tomorrow.